Hi everyone, so this is episode 4 of Let's Talk About Books. Anyway, happy February, I suppose, is a better thing to say. My reading has been going well, and the first question I want to ask you is how many books did you end up reading in January, and essentially how did the month of January go for you? For me, it went well, I think. Usually what happens to me is I read a load of books at the start of the month, and then I kind of fizzle out by the end of the month, and I think that's kind of what happened this time. So I was reading the Tawny Man trilogy by Robin Hobb, and essentially they're very heavy, thick books. So my mistake was reading them really quickly because they were really good, and then coming to the middle then of the month, starting to kind of feel a bit of burnout, I suppose would be the right thing to say. But then still wanting to read and kind of pushing myself to read, even though I wasn't up for it. Though I must say the Tawny Man trilogy is outstanding, and if you haven't read the Tale of the Elderling series, then I highly recommend it. But I wouldn't recommend reading all 3 of them in the 1 month, which I think is probably common sense, especially when they're near 600, 700 pages each. But anyway, then I read Normal People by Sally Rooney, and I highly recommend it. It's based in Ireland around these 2 kids. And their story basically. Really good, really short book. Stay. Oh, sorry folks, I'm just grabbing my dog. And basically, I then started reading IQ84 by Murakami, which is so long. It's unnecessary. It's over 1,300 pages long, and it's based in this fictional world, but it's very similar to our world, but there's just 2 moons. And it's good. It's really good. It's just really long. And then I'm reading a couple other books at the same time. Reading this crime series by Joe Nesbo, based on a character called Harry Hole, who plays like a detective. It's really good. I really recommend it. I know, and the main topic I want to talk about today is The Last of Us TV show and how outstanding it was. If you haven't seen it, it's on. If you're in America, it's on HBO, and if you're based in the UK, it's on. It's on Sky Atlantic or Now TV if you have it, and Pedro Pascal plays the main character, Joel. He also plays the Mandalorian. And yeah, it's really getting really big now. It's really outstanding show, and Pedro Pascal is really good. It's just top quality TV that I feel like we've been missing for a while. And they've just announced that they're going to do season 2. When I'm recording this episode 4 is out this evening, so I'll watch it. But there was a lot of hate around the 3rd episode. A lot of people saying it was the best episode of TV they've ever seen, and then a lot of other people saying that it wasn't necessarily needed, because essentially in the 3rd episode of The Last of Us, we get introduced to these 2 side characters, and one of them plays a major role in the game itself, but in the show he doesn't, but he gets his own story. So that's kind of what we spend an hour and 10 minutes doing. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good TV. But a lot of people didn't. So you'll probably read about that online if you decide to watch the show. But I'm excited for episode 4 this evening, and hopefully it keeps going on this upward track of being a really, really good show. For February, I'm planning to I'm kind of being a bit of a mood reader this month, where essentially I'm just gonna read whatever takes my fancy. And that's it. Yeah, like I'm just gonna read, try and finish IQ 84, and yeah, try and finish IQ 84. A couple other books. Gonna read a couple of the standalone fantasy books I have. I did do a book haul this month for February because I got a gift card from my work for Amazon. I was buzzing, I must say. And with that money, I decided to buy the last 7 books in the Tale of the Elderling series, Robin Hobb series. So yeah, that's all 16 books now on the shelf, and there's a very strong temptation to read all 7 of them in one go because I've become really addicted to Robin's writing style and her prose. But I think I'll try my best to hold off. How successful I'll be at that, I don't know. Yeah, February's quite a short month, 28 days, 4 weeks, I think. And we'll have to see kind of where I end up with the reading. I'm back at university now for another semester, so my reading time might go down. I just want to say thanks for all the support. Obviously, on the first 3 episodes of Let's Talk About Books, it's I can't believe this is the fourth episode and we're on to a month. You do seem to be enjoying them on YouTube. And I hope to keep doing this now for the entire year. Try and do 1 episode a week for the entire year, and then look back at the end of the year and see how we're doing. The channel is doing well. A couple of reviews recently on the channel for Babel by R.F. Kuang and The Winners by Frederick Bachman. Both doing quite well. And then I did my January wrap up and my February TBR. So, and then we hit 33,000 subscribers. That was my dog yawning if you heard that. So channel's doing well. I'm doing a lot of work on TikTok. Do a lot of you watch Book Talk? What are your thoughts on Book Talk? It's a bit of a struggle. We're up to just over 1,000 followers. But a lot of the content that seems to be made is kind of done in Spanish or Brazilian. Like, it's kind of a lot of the big book fans are like, they're not really English speakers. They're kind of across the water. So it's it's interesting. New challenge for the year, to try and hit 10,000 TikTok followers. And then with the Instagram, Instagram's actually going well. We're on 7,500 and something. Finding a lot of success with actually posting photos on there again instead of reels. Which is mad because I'm sure a lot of you have book Instagram as well, and that for a long time photos weren't doing well. It was all like, oh, they wanted you to do reels and stuff, but no, I'm doing really well with the photos. And I love doing the photos. If any of you have big massive bookcases or you have a collection of books, admiring the books and taking photos of them and showing off the art that these publishers and authors put in to make their book look outstanding and stand out on the shelf is great. It would make you want to buy special editions of books, which are very expensive and probably not worth it. But yeah, if you have the money, then you really want to buy special editions to show off on your shelf. Do any of you have any special editions? Comment below. And do any of you have big massive bookcases? Like, what is the size of your collection? I think for me it's maybe close to 200 books now on the shelves. Which is a lot, but I did recently change to second hand instead of first hand. And I found a lot of success for that. You can find a lot of the books, especially in the fantasy genre and crime genre, that you want to read second hand. Now, they may not be in the best condition, and it may not be the most exciting looking version of the book, but essentially the story is there. The same story that you were reading the fancy version is it there in the second-hand 10-year-old book. And books are expensive nowadays, especially where I'm from. And I did see a TikTok recently showing off Australia's book market and how expensive it is to buy physical books there. And I must say I'm really happy not to live in Australia. I think it's like you're talking about 20, 30 Australian dollars for the same as what we pay here, which for me is around £10 sterling for a book. And the issue that I have here, which I don't know what is in the rest of the world, is you can spend £10 sterling on a book that's 1,000 pages, or you can pay £10 sterling on a book that's 200 pages, and there's no in between. And I don't know if that really makes sense, because you're paying £10 for a book that could take you a week to 2 weeks to read, or you could pay £10 on a book that could take you a lunchtime break to read, depending on how fast you read books. So my question for you is, do you think that is worth the value, or do you think books should be priced on, yes, obviously if it's a new book that's just come out, it's going to be higher priced, but if say 2 books have been out for 5 years, should the book of 200 pages be £5 and the book that's 400 pages be £10, or do you think it's all in proportion and it should all be a set standard price? I don't know, it's something to think about. Because there's loads of like smaller page books that I would love to buy, but I can't justify paying the same price that I would pay for a 600-page book, because I just feel like the 600-page book is going to take up more of my time, and more, it might have more rereadable value, or you know what I mean. Don't know. I would like to have a conversation about this with you all in the comments. Maybe it's a topic I should save for a live stream. Another interesting topic recently was that I put up a poll on the community tab of the channel, essentially talking about hardback versus paperback, and I was really, really, really happy with the reception to that. I think there was nearly 4,000 votes, and it was people preferred paperback to hardback, which is right. I think that's right, because hardbacks are lovely to look at and really look nice on the bookshelf, but they're not practical when it comes to traveling with a book, sitting somewhere awkward with a book, and bringing the cover with you, the sleeve of the book. Because I feel like if I know you're not meant to read the hardbacks with the sleeve on, but sometimes you end up doing that anyway, and the sleeve gets slightly damaged, and it's just heartbreaking, because then it's like that forever. But yeah, if you haven't taken part in that community poll and you're still listening at this point in the video, the episode of the podcast, do you prefer hardback or paperback? I'm gonna go with paperback. And if there's any topics you would like me to cover in the podcast, please comment below and I will cover them next time. I need to prepare more for these episodes, but I am enjoying doing them, because it's kind of what comes to mind is what I'm saying, and I would like to be better at speaking publicly than I am now, and being confident in speaking. And I actually think doing these episodes is helping me to do that. So thanks for all the support. Please hit the like button, and if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button for more episodes, weekly episodes. And I hope February goes really well for all of you. 28 days. If you have any goals or targets, I hope you hit them. Yeah, and I'll talk to you all again soon.